Wait. We
like to drink with Rheal. Alright, 1, 2, 3, go.
Welcome to the Pitcher Podcast, where the conversation is free flow, everything is on the house, and all we ask for in return is for you not to give us 1-star reviews. I'm Cody.
And we're Ian. And today we have a really special guest. Rheal.
That was funny.
Oh my god.
She's out for blood.
She's out for blood. 30 seconds in. So Rheal, for all of our listeners, why don't you talk about who you are, give us a little introduction, and say how you know us.
Well, I'm Rheal.
Very nice. Hi, Rheal.
Hi, Rheal.
I went to high school with Cody and Ian, and I've known them for about 11 years now.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
When did we start?
Years?
Like 2009 we started.
Yeah.
When's
11 years.
2009, like high school?
Yeah,
Year
well, when
7.
we started secondary school.
Yes,
like middle school. And yeah, who are you? Where?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Like, where do you go to school? You don't have to say the actual school name, but like, what country do you go to school? And tell us 1 or 2 interesting things about yourself.
Let's do it one at a time. The first thing we want to know is what?
Yeah, I just graduated from a university in Toronto,
Very
Canada.
nice. In Canada. And?
And interesting things. My elbows are double jointed.
Very nice. Very nice. Rheal can also lick her belly button, which is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Wait, you can?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that not normal?
No, she actually can. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways.
Wait, what? Are we done with the introduction?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. For the Culture Corner, we're going to be doing TV shows. So, Rheal, as our special guest, you want to start us off?
So for the Culture Corner, I picked the show Sex Education.
Very good.
On Netflix. Yeah, so as some listeners know...
Ian's trying to lick his belly button. Yeah, sorry, carry on. Yeah,
so I came back to Hong Kong from Canada and I had to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And in that time, I basically just binged season 2 of Sex Education.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, really enjoyed it.
Had you watched the first season before this?
I watched it when it came out. I don't know why I didn't watch season 2 when it came out, but I guess lucky because I had something to do during quarantine. It like touches on some really great topics.
Raunchy. Oh yeah, good topics.
Yes.
Yeah, no, season 2 is a lot less raunchy than season 1.
Yeah.
I think season 1 was just kind of like, hey, let's get attention. And
I've only seen season 1, so I don't actually I don't know what season 2 is about. It's about, around the same things?
Yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers.
Oh, come on. Highlights, please.
I actually haven't watched the end of season 2. Like the last 2 episodes, but I do really like Sex Education. And I talked about it like episode 2 or 3 or something early on, but I really like it, and it's like one of my favorite TV shows ever, I think, just because it like destigmatizes a lot of things that need to be.
I remember like watching it like in uni. I was watching the first episode with like my flatmates.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like roasting like, what the hell is this? And then we just end up binging it like 2 days in a row, and we're like,
yeah.
We actually just finished everything.
Yeah. I feel like that's like, especially when the pilot opens up with like a very raunchy sex scene.
Yeah.
But it's actually really good. Was it a big deal in the UK at all?
What, the show itself?
Yeah, because it was like
No.
a UK show.
I feel like it's
it's
like
UK?
but it's so American and
Yeah.
like how it is portrayed and stuff.
For sure. Yeah.
It's like super vague. It's like an American high school in the UK.
Yeah. Just with like everyone
Accents.
with British accents. And there's such a like
fake Margot Robbie.
Yeah, yes. Okay, I'm so glad you think
God.
that too, but I think that the Otis, the girl he does the clinic with, you know her, right? Doesn't she look like Margot Robbie?
Yeah.
She is, right?
Yeah, there's like
She is Margot Robbie, right?
I was saying that and people didn't believe me.
There's like a bunch of memes about it.
Oh, really?
The resemblance
there's like a
is
bunch of
uncanny.
actresses that look really similar.
Right. Yeah, I really like it. But it is like a super American high school setting. And then there also, what I've noticed is that there's just like such a fake amount of diversity in that too.
Yeah.
Most high schools in the UK and the US are like not that diverse and like not that okay with like people doing other things and expressing themselves in those ways and stuff. But
They fit a lot of like typical American high school tropes into it as well, like
Yeah.
the varsity jackets,
yeah,
the
yeah,
jocks.
which is like not a thing in the
Yeah,
UK.
exactly.
I thought you had a rowing.
Oh, okay.
gear,
No.
though.
Oh, Cody was a jock.
No,
dude.
I was
Cody
not
was
a
a
jock.
stud
I
in
got
the
bullied
UK.
by the jocks.
No, he didn't.
I definitely got bullied by the
Cody
jocks.
bullied me when I
Did
was
you
over
get
there.
an I'm sorry ever mailed to you, maybe?
And I'm.
Oh! Wait, why do you?
Yes.
That's a weird thing. She's saying like she was roasting us as if like it was sent to you, but it was actually sent to Rheal. Okay. Essentially, this thing.
You guys wanted to bring it up during the
I
podcast,
didn't know
so
you
I
were gonna
did.
bring it
So
up.
I did.
So Rheal, why don't you tell us about this I'm sorry
Yeah, tell
story.
us about the I'm sorry.
No names are needed.
The floor is yours.
The floor is yours. Please.
This was grade 11.
Yeah. Can't wait
This
to see how you're
person,
gonna spin
this
this.
person that moved away.
The stud
Yeah.
that moved away.
Was a bit of a stud.
It was
I
an
will
absolute
say.
stud.
A little bit of a jock.
He
Yeah.
basically didn't talk to me for a little while and then mailed me.
Describe what it was because that's the
What
funniest
if
part.
he's listening?
It's it's just fine. It's fine.
It's like
He
it's
cut-
like
he-
6 years ago.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he
it was
cut-
6 years
he
ago.
cut out letters from like
Like
a
magazine,
newspaper or
right? Yeah.
magazine or something and
Oh my
taped it
God.
down and mailed that to me.
So he has a massive piece of like A4 paper and he taped just the words I'm sorry.
Was it like a postcard size or what?
No,
what's
it was A4.
Oh my gosh! So
With,
he
like-
failed.
So essentially she was given a romantic ransom note.
So
And then it had a photo, like it had a Polaroid.
That
it
wasn't
said-
really me.
Yeah.
That like only like 1/4 of her face was showing. And it was just another chick. So maybe the I'm sorry is about like
The photo.
the photo.
Maybe.
I'm sorry about this bad.
Yeah.
It definitely
But
wasn't.
here it is.
So for context, Rheal and this guy hadn't talked in how long?
No, since
Probably
the
like-
I'm sorry, since I'm sorry.
No,
now?
but like until from when he
Probably
left
like 6
until.
months or not 9 months.
So it didn't end on the best of terms.
No.
And then didn't talk for 6 months. He moved away, and then Rheal opens her mailbox one day and gets an A4 piece of paper that just says "I'm sorry" in cutout magazine clippings, like an actual ransom note. And that was
Have you been
6 years
talking
ago.
to him for that long?
What are you talking
No,
about?
I wasn't talking to him after
they
he moved
weren't
away.
I know, but like 6 months before that, you were still talking to him. You were still seeing him.
Well, he was still in school and stuff
Yeah.
then, right?
Ah, Fez.
Yeah, so
Fez,
everyone kind of
Fez,
talked to each
Fez.
other.
Don't make it weird.
Yeah, make it weird.
What?
Anyways, your TV show.
Or my one? You want me to go first?
Yeah.
So I've been watching, like, I've watched, like, a couple of episodes of this show called Vikings, like, a couple of years back.
Mm-hmm.
Really liked it, but just stopped. Like, I'm not very committed when it comes
Yeah.
to TV shows. I would just, like, watch a couple, love it, and I was, like, if I don't watch it or binge it, I'll just give up.
Yeah.
So then I'm trying to, like, restart the show because it's a really good show. It's called Wait, did I ever...
Yes,
did I
you
say
said-
it? Did I say
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's Vikings. It's about Vikings, I
By
guess.
the way, it's called Vikings.
Oh, is it?
Oh my gosh, Karen.
But yeah, it's just a really good show. I think it's like it has a bit of like Game of Thrones vibe, but it's
Yeah.
more like barbaric.
Yeah.
And it's set in like Viking times.
Yeah.
So anyone who kind of likes that kind of shit, you know, go check it out.
Is it even bloodier than Game of Thrones? Like more gruesome? Because Game of Thrones is too
Um,
much for me, actually.
It's not really bloody. It's very aggressive. Like
Okay.
not in a. It's not essentially in a violent way because like they were very barbaric in Viking. times. So just like their mannerisms, their their culture and everything.
Yeah.
But it is very interesting. It's a really good show, very well written and everything. So
Yeah.
check
Yeah.
that shit out.
Does it have like the interest? What I think of is interesting about Game of Thrones is
Clones.
like Game of Thrones.
Game of
Thrones.
Such a cute show.
What I find interesting about it is like the power plays and like the political moves and like
There's a
that
lot of
aspect
that.
it.
There's a
but
lot
I
of that in
hate like the
Vikings.
blood and like the getting people's like throats. Like it's just so bloody and gruesome for me to like watch, and I feel like nauseous from it. But is there that in Vikings?
I don't think they like just put gruesome stuff for the sake of it being gruesome. It's not like a shock factor kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But they need a bit of that to kind of like build the whole repertoire of like the barbaric times,
Right.
like back in the days. But there's a lot of political power play if you
Right.
like that, so you should check it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
There's like quite a few seasons. I think it's like 8 seasons now.
Oh, okay. Is it still going? right now?
Maybe I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it's really, really good. So check it out.
Gotcha. Okay.
How about you, Cody?
Well, mine is also a Netflix show. All of ours are Netflix, actually. But it's called Fear City, New York City versus the Mob. And it's about like I think like 1960s and 1970s, but like the mob and essentially how much power it had consolidated over like New York City, and essentially how they like ran everything going on in the city. And so it follows like I think it was like the FBI or something like that, and how they revolutionized like taking down the mob through wiretapping. And it was like the first mass like wiretapping operation. So it like details how these people would like somehow manage to get into like the mob boss's house and like install a wiretap in like their phone or something. And so it's just like really well edited, and then they also have a lot of people that are like old now but like were doing this stuff back in the 70s, and so it's cool to like hear first-hand accounts from it and everything.
No, what's that like new charge that they developed for like
RICO?
RICO.
So that this was like the first mass application of RICO law.
Cornell law, right?
Yeah, very good. Did you learn about that in law?
No.
Oh no. This is from the TV show then, because
you
watched it.
I watched like the first episode.
Right. It's a 3-part series, and so I guess you watched the first one. But it was really interesting to see how they like applied that law to taking down the mob and organized crime.
I love the show because like I'm a big fan of like mobster stuff. Like I love mobster movies.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was like, because I've been in a phase recently of watching like Goodfellas and stuff like that. And so this is fun because it's like actual like real stuff as well.
Yeah.
Not just dramatized. But yeah, I guess jumping into our actual podcast episode, Rheal, our friend from high school, is back in Hong Kong for about a month, and then going back to Canada in only a couple days. So we figured we would get her on the pod while we could. Get her on the pod. And then we just kind of wanted to go over like memories and stuff from high school, and then also maybe like ask Rheal about her advice for like transitioning into college, because we haven't had anyone who's gone to like school in Canada on the pod, and then we also haven't had people who have gone to like as big of a school as she has, I think, out of all of us. So we just figured that would be interesting and stuff.
Close.
Oh, sorry. I'm not talking close enough. I got scolded.
Well, I didn't scold you. I was giving you advice.
I'm hypersensitive with this stuff. But yeah, I guess, Rheal, why don't you start off by talking about just like some off the top of your head, like funny moments.
Or should we start with like how she got to know us? Or is that like not really a story?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can talk about that too.
Yeah. Or like how
I honestly don't even...
She was saying before this that she doesn't remember how she met us.
First impressions of Cody and I.
Well...
Oh, is this during Cody's bad boy phase?
Oh, no.
I'd say... No, I knew him before that because we...
Before my bad boy phase?
Yeah. No, because we... So there was like the normal school bus, and then there was an activities bus.
Yeah.
And normally Cody and I wouldn't be on the same school bus, but for some reason for the activities bus, we would take the same one.
Yeah.
So I guess and we were the only ones that were on it, so it just kind of forced us to like get to know each other and talk
activities
and stuff.
Bus.
So the activity bus there's the normal school buses that leave at like 3:30 or whenever school ends. But then there's like a smaller amount of school buses
after activities.
Yeah. So like we have
school clubs,
after school clubs and like sports and stuff, and so those buses would leave at like 5 or whatever. And then they didn't have as many school buses, so they would like consolidate the routes. And so Rheal and I were on the same ones for those. But do you remember Kevin Kim?
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin.
Yes. Whoa. It was you, me, Kevin Kim, and then another girl who I won't mention her name. But we were on all those buses together. I remember that.
I hate that guy. So much. I don't even remember why I hate him, but I do remember that I hate him.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I just remembered that. That was such a throwback. For context, Kevin Kim was this guy who was like in his junior...
Can you name drop?
It's fine. I don't think he's listening. Kevin Kim.
He's gonna listen to our podcast.
He was Rheal still scared of Kevin.
Yeah.
Going
guys,
after.
please don't.
Actually, no. Don't talk about it now. But Kevin Kim was this guy who was in like his junior year of high school. And meanwhile, Rheal, who was like in her first year of middle school, was like buddies with this guy who was like so old.
He was
at least like
2 grades above us.
I know, but it's so old in like
he
high
seems
school.
so
women
much
are like
older.
that.
Yeah. I feel like in high school, every year is such a big like age
especially like
differential.
11 to 13.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I guess that's how I started to get to know Rheal.
Yeah.
Kevin.
And then
that name fucking boils my blood. I don't know why I hate him. Do you remember why I hate him?
Clue.
He was just very like loud and boisterous. He was never super mean to me, but I guess
I just remember he's just like a very douchey motherfucker.
Yeah.
Sure.
Rheal still likes
She's under the table. Kevin, they're talking about you.
Kevin, come right now. Ian, can I have a word outside?
Kevin Kim's just like arms on his hips. Ian.
Yeah, how did you get to know
anyway.
Ian? Do you have any like first impressions or first memories of Ian?
With Ian, I was like in
A lot of
every
classes,
class
yeah.
with him since we were 11.
Yeah.
Like 11 to 14, we had like every class together.
11 till 14.
Like
age?
years old.
Yeah.
11, 14 years old.
You're 14, you know. when we all had to repeat a year. Yeah, so I guess I just knew him through that.
Yeah.
The only thing that I really remember from that is like drama. Like not like
friendship
like drama class.
Yeah.
And we would I don't know why, but our teacher would always like have certain people that would pick their own groups and stuff, and I was one of those people.
Are you
and
serious?
Captains, just like soccer practice, what the fuck?
You get to pick a team.
But she would always make us have like mixed groups, like boys and girls in each group.
Yeah.
And I remember none of the boys would be willing to like say lines other than Ian. I would try to get first pick and pick Ian for like
really?
the boy
I loved
that I had
drama.
to
I was such a like I don't know.
You were so funny in drama.
Yeah.
And then other than that,
it's because
probably
like,
just you making fun of.
It's because
people doing dumb stuff.
Rheal was
fun.
too cool for us. Like I was part of like the dorky, like stupid, quirky groups.
Right.
And then these two were just, out of our leagues.
No, I was definitely not in the cool group.
I literally hung out with you guys. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was like never with the cool group, but like hanging out with them.
With the cool group.
But trying
we were
to be with
perpendicular.
them. But Rheal, like, she truly like ran our year in a sense, kind of.
No.
But what that just reminded me of was we had a school play, Quorum Boy.
Oh my god.
When was that? Was that
Year
year 10? So our freshman year of high school or something?
Is this the metaphorical motorbike thing?
No, we're not gonna talk about that.
I wasn't in that class.
She was not in that class. But this was like an all-school play or whatever that we did.
Our school production.
Yeah, our school production. And we had a drama teacher who also happened to be Ian's homeroom teacher in school.
I love her.
That she would never want to do just like very basic, like vanilla, normal, like high school plays. Like all of her stuff had to be super like allegorical, like metaphorical, like
avant-garde.
Yeah, avant-garde, like cutting edge stuff. So one of hers, which I remember was like in like middle school, was like really about like sex workers in Berlin or something like that. Like that was so intense.
We
Like,
did 13-year-olds.
Yeah, cabaret, which was like so grim. There's like a pseudo like non-consensual sex scene and it's like a high school play or something. And then I remember they were like, if you're younger than 13 years old, you're not allowed to go to it or something like that.
Younger than 13?
Yeah.
What's his arbitrary like age limit?
Like all of their stuff was so intense, and there's like kids getting killed in it.
But just
too.
also there was no one enforcing that.
Yeah.
So
dude, she's the type of teacher who has like a glass of wine in school.
Oh,
so like
I've seen her. I've seen her do that.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. So she's like that kind of teacher.
Yeah. But for our freshman year, Rheal and me and a kind of a group of our like friends, we went to this play, or we were in this play that was also super grim. It was about an orphanage, like a guy who would take babies from like mothers who couldn't afford to take care of their kids and stuff, and would say that he's taking them to like a really good orphanage and children's home where they can like learn a lot and stuff, and they just needed to like give him like payments of money every like year or month and stuff, but he would actually take them to the forest and bury them. And that was like our high school play that we were in as well.
I remember having to do like a ritualistic sort of burial scene.
Oh yeah. I remember
because
that too.
I was the chorus, I didn't have any lines.
Me too. I didn't have any lines too.
So what, like an extra?
So then also with this drama teacher, her stuff was very like stylized and stuff. So we would be like the
dancing,
wind, or like symbolizing
the ocean.
the ocean, or like the ground swallowing the child corpse up or whatever like this. And there was like a hanging scene which the drama teacher's boyfriend, who's like a woodsmith or something, built like an actual hanging thing.
What?
I remember this.
A
and he like a carpenter.
A wood guy.
A wood guy. But he built what do you call it, like the thing that you hang someone with? A gallows or something like that?
A noose?
No, but like the actual like wooden thing. Where you, like,
I think you're
up to it
asking
and
the
everything.
wrong people here.
I think it was like a gallows or something. But like the person would like get strapped to it and it like wouldn't actually hang them.
That's
or whatever.
messed up.
It was
I thought you
crazy.
was gonna go for the metaphorical thing where someone's gonna like loop their arm
Right,
around someone's neck.
no, this was like an actual like gallows that her boyfriend
She's like, you
built.
can actually like partially stab him, just let a bit of blood come out.
But yeah, anyways, that was our high school play, and I feel like we got closer and stuff because of that.
Karamboy.
Quorum boy. We also had quite a few classes together in our like junior and senior year of high school, which was like, we did this program called the IB diploma, and it was just like very intense, and you would spend a lot of time in like these very few classes together. So we made a lot of like fun memories through that. Most notable of which most notable of which was our chemistry class that we had together.
Oh, dear.
I think we've talked like a bit
little
about
bit.
We talked a fair amount
For
about
sure.
our
being in the
chemistry
sink
class.
and everything.
Yeah. But we just wanted to ask you like some memories or
Memories that stand out.
some memories that stand out.
I feel like there's just a reoccurring theme of because we
Fun.
have to do
Education.
Fun and wholesomeness.
we'd have to do experiments like labs in the classes,
Yeah, I hated them.
and I feel like all of our results were made up. I don't think we did a single experiment correctly and got the results we
Oh,
were supposed
no.
to
We
get.
probably get like 2 hours to do an experiment that takes
Yeah.
an hour, and we just don't end up doing it at all.
We just like are talking or messing around, and then in the last like 20 minutes of class where she's like, all right, I need your guys' results up here now. We're like, shit,
What's yours?
And then we go over to another group. Guys, can you give us your results?
and change it by like one number.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got 27. Okay, we got 26.8.
Yeah. And all of these experiments that were meant to like visualize the world of chemistry and all these reactions, I have no recollection, or even then I had no idea what they were like meant to symbolize or like show us or anything.
We have a bad rep with chemistry experiments as well.
Yeah, no, we definitely do. What was the coffee thing you were gonna talk about?
So basically during our IB Chem program, we all had to do like a project, and that was our coursework. Like we had to write an essay about it.
Yeah.
So one of the people in our class is doing like the different concentrations of coffee in like different brands of
Something
coffee or something.
like
So he's brewing coffee in class in like beakers, and like he has Bunsen burners.
Smells
and
great,
stuff.
by the way.
Yeah, it smells really good.
great.
And this is at the point, as Cody and Ian have mentioned on previous episodes, that they had addictions to
we drank a fair amount of coffee.
espressos. Yeah.
Oh,
So
you listen to us.
Oh, very
I'm an
sweet.
avid listener. So Cody and Ian proceeded to sip on some coffee out of a chem lab beaker.
Yeah.
And
And it was perfectly fine, I guess.
I actually like vividly remember how this went down because it smelled really good, and we went to the guy and we were like, "Oh, that smells so good," and he's like, "Do you want some?" And
I don't think he's.
like,
I
oh, did he not
don't
ask?
think he offered.
No.
You went up and you were like, "Can I like try it? Can I drink some?"
And then I
he's
guess his experiment was over, so we didn't like
he was
need
like,
it
He's like,
anymore.
I have a
I think
video
he's like,
of
I
it.
guess.
Oh,
or
really?
something.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like, it's really strong though. Like you can if you want.
And we're like, yeah, we drink a lot. We drink a lot of
it's
coffee. It's fine.
And then I vividly remember this because our chemistry teacher, who let us get away with so much, like saw us picking up the beaker, and she's like, "Boys, I hope you're not going to drink from that right now." And we're like, no, we're not. Don't worry. Like, we're just smelling it, like, appreciating the aromas. And then, like, when she's like, okay, and then she turns her back, and then Ian and I both, like, bottoms up, and then she's like, and then we're like, oh, wow, that's really strong. And then she finds out, and then she's like, guys, no, you didn't do that, right? And we're like, no, like, like we got scared. Then she's like,
you guys actually got really scared because I think she was like, don't know what could have been in there before. Like there could have been acid in those beakers.
We use hydrochloric acid in these beakers, and of course, like we say that they're washed, but like who knows how thoroughly they got rinsed? And she's like, now you just have that floating around in your like stomach lining and stuff. And we're like,
I feel like Ian is so the person to be like, there's hydrochloric acid in my stomach already.
So it's fine. But we both got really spooked in that instance. And I remember like Ian and I both went to the bathroom when we were both kind of scared. We were like trying to chug water and like gargle it and spit it out.
It's like the 21 Jump Street scene where
it's gonna come out. But yeah, that was really fun too. I also lit my fart on fire in class.
I have a video of that as well.
I can't remember if our chemistry teacher saw that.
No, she never saw that.
That was like a cover lesson or something.
Right? She was just like she was out of the room.
Yeah.
I think she was like out of the room.
But yeah, and then Rheal and I also had psychology together, which we like spent a lot of time in, and we sat together for like 2 years, and there's one memory that I want to bring up because you knew this was coming, Rheal. But
you gotta do it.
We all know.
Okay, I'll spit some fire.
Rheal's stretching.
She's rolling her shoulders now. She's ready.
I'm so pumped. So basically, we had this psychology topic, and then our teacher was like sick for one day or something, and then she was like, guys, in order to make this learning more applicable, why don't you like write the lyrics to a song that you know, but also make it about what we learned in psychology. So we did
a little remix.
What did we do again?
Trap
Queen by Fetty Wap, was it? But with psychology. It was a group of 3 of us, I remember. Me, Rheal, and another girl. And then the day came to present, and so people would like kind of sheepishly like sing it in front of the class and stuff. And it would always be like wholesome but cringe, I guess. And then we were like, okay, Rheal, this is going to be so funny. Like, you're going to do it, though. And she was like, no, like, we all 3, like, worked on it. I was like, no. So I was like, I'll film you, don't worry. So it's just the whole class listening to Rheal playing Fetty Wap, like, instrumentals and then singing, like, rapping it. But yeah, anyways.
I just want to say as well, though, that our school had this, like, our psychology program had something called Psychology Student of the Month.
Yeah.
And for the entire 2 years, I guess like 1.5 years at that point, I was like asking our teacher, like, oh, make me the Psychology Student of the Month, please. Yeah. Like, I want to be featured.
Yeah, because there was only one student for like the entire month that got Psychology Student of the
across
Month.
like 4 grades.
Yeah.
And I was a teacher's pet, I guess.
Yeah, so you got it after this.
That was like my only incentive.
After this rendition,
after this banger. All right, so 1, 2, 3, go.
She my trap queen, releasing dopamine.
Oh my God.
That's all that I remember, but
that goes hard.
Fire in the booth.
Acapella. To Westwood,
fire in the booth. Fire in the booth. So yeah,
we had a lot more. We had like 2 verses.
Yeah, it was a full-on song, and so like the humor factor of it when we were recording it like kind of goes away after the first 30 seconds.
And the whole class is just sitting through me of all
people. Just one verse, takes a breath, and then goes in for the next verse. Everyone's just like, oh, come on, let's just get this over with.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was a bit jealous that I didn't get Psychology Student of the Month because I didn't do anything. It was just Rheal performing it. But then speaking of Psychology Student of the Month, I remember that after one of our like reports that we had to do, she gave like 10 students Psychology Student of the Month too. And what she normally does was get your student picture that you would like take for yearbooks and everything in it. But then I was like, Miss whatever, like it would be so funny if you let me just like submit my own photo, right? Like it's cutesy and it would be like, you know, more personal and all this stuff. And like all of the students can see this who take psychology throughout high school. But then she was like, okay, why don't you like send me the photo and I'll have a think about it. And I was like, yes. So I sent her this photo where I made my face like an orange. Like, I think it was like my face was an orange and there was like an outline of a cat like about to eat my head or something, and I was like, this would be so funny, right? And she's like, yeah, that is quite funny actually. It might make students like laugh, you know, and appreciate psychology. And then I remember I get an email like later that night and she's like, hi Cody, I hope this finds you well. Like, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I've given it a lot of thought, and I don't think we'll use that photo, actually, because I think that it could kind of, like, be, like, too joking and a mockery of psychology or something. Hope this is okay. I'll use your school photo. I'm just like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Such a joker, Cody.
Such a joker.
Literally only you would get away with doing
I was so disappointed.
Michael got away with doing it.
Oh,
true.
Yeah.
True.
He just
actually got
a baby photo of himself.
Well, I guess it looked like enough.
It did not really.
Well,
it was so far from what Michael looked like.
It's also like the baby photos too, right?
Yeah.
So it's like no one wants to be that staff who's like,
no, this isn't you.
Is this baby actually you?
Exactly.
Like, it looks
That's
so
what
different.
I mean. Like they can't really say that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I remember we were just like, because we never got confirmation that our stuff in the yearbooks that we talked about last episode was like published before it actually did. So I remember we just picked up our yearbooks and then we like, I think we had forgotten about the Michael thing, but then we went to it and we're like, oh no, they actually posted that. But yes, like moving on from all of the moments that we had like a lot of fun together, we're also wondering like,
oh, here we go.
You also have any instances
Blunders.
in which like you were a bit mad at us, and it's actually getting a bit toasty, so I am gonna turn on the aircon.
Yeah,
is
I'm
that
getting
okay?
a bit sleepy with the heat.
I'm getting a bit sweaty too. But yeah,
Are you guys nervous for my answers?
Yeah, I'm also like a bit nervous for this.
I'm gonna have to head out. For this.
Actually, I really have to go right now. But yeah, what were some moments where you were like mad or like less than thrilled with us over?
Less than thrilled. I feel like with Ian, that's just every class that we had together.
No.
But the one time that I wouldn't say mad, but quite upset.
Yeah.
With Ian, was in chem again, of course.
Yeah.
So Ian had a bit of a cold that day.
He was under the weather.
Under the weather.
Yeah. There was some bodily fluid.
Whoa! No!
Like no, okay.
Just say what it is. Say what it is. Say what it is.
There was snot. There was a lot of snot going on.
Yeah.
No one's thinking that you're.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. I was like pee.
Oh, okay.
Well, no one was thinking that either.
Yeah, I'm thinking that.
Anyway, so I had my phone out on the desk.
Oh no.
And Ian was just, I guess, quite ill, and he blew his nose into a tissue, and the tissue was like overflowing.
Oh,
it was disgusting.
It wasn't clear snot too. It was like the sick snot, right? So it was like a jello at this point.
Yeah. And he put the tissue on my phone.
No, okay, it wasn't like a big, like I didn't wrap the phone with the tissue.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
Like,
you put the tissue on my phone. It's exactly
I was like
what
teasing it. I was like teasing the two together, and then it touched a bit. It touched
Yeah. And so
it grazed.
Meanwhile, Rheal is like, Ian, no, please do not do this. And
anything but this.
Yeah, the whole chemistry class is watching us, and then I'm filming it, of course, because I just filmed everything. Yeah. And then I was like, do it.
No, but the thing is, everything that Ian did, I feel like usually Cody would like laugh along, and this is the one time even Cody was like, oh, that's a bit
but you egged me on to do it as well.
I was like laughing, but I knew that it was like a bit too far. But then Ian's like, should I? And then he like touches it to a bit, and Rheal's like, oh, and then you told us that was actually like one of the times where you were quite upset.
Okay, now talking about Cody. When did you get mad at Cody?
I still have that.
Okay, I just want to say as well, I feel like I got over it by like lunchtime.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So for Cody.
Oh dear.
So Cody and I worked on this event in Hong Kong called the 24-hour race.
What is it? Like
it's a student-led race
Asia's
around this
largest student-led movement.
Exactly. Okay. And it's basically like teams from different schools across Hong Kong have runners, and they do this relay race.
Yeah.
But there's an organizing committee that is entirely students across Hong Kong, and they just do the whole thing. Like they set up everything for it. So Cody and I were on the organizing committee, and we were in charge of like the volunteers for the event. So we had to have like volunteers at stations around the track to make sure that all the runners were safe and everything.
Yeah, and like not hurt and stuff.
Yeah, and so the shifts were 3 hours across 24 hours. So 8 different shifts.
Yeah.
And
quick maths.
So, and just bearing in mind that we set up before the race started. So this is maybe like a couple hours before the actual 24-hour race, and then a couple hours after for cleaning up.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, Cody, I'll take the first shift. Like, I'll sign volunteers in. I'll, like, brief them, give them their walkie-talkies, whatever. And Cody's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to go hang out with this girl.
Espresso girl. Espresso girl.
And, you know, a few shifts go by, and I'm wondering where Cody is. And basically, I do the whole thing. And I have checked, by the last shift, I literally couldn't see. My vision...
Someone goes in to check in, she's like feeling the table, walking around.
No, like my vision was so blurry, I couldn't read the names on the list. So it got to a point where I was like looking at the list trying to find this girl's name. And I was just like, you know what, sign yourself in.
Find your own name on the list.
Yeah, basically. And
dear.
Yeah, so Cody had some other pursuits that
Who's
day.
this pursuit, Cody?
We are definitely not going to talk about that right now.
Can I vaguely talk about one thing about it?
Yeah, sure.
Cody was such a freaking stud the entire time.
No, I was not.
I was at the event, and then I was just like always trying to get a hold of Cody, but he was always very preoccupied.
Yeah, because Ian was a volunteer at the event.
He was like preoccupied, like talking to this this girl, and then he was like, he's so much of a stud where he was like, oh, I would really love some coffee right now, and she went and walked all the way home, and then got like a cup of coffee, like hot coffee for him at like 4 a.m, and then walked all the way back just to give it to Cody in a nice little flask.
Oh, that is really sweet.
Yeah.
No, it was a bit different than that. It was.
And he dumped her ass.
Oh my god!
They were never together.
Never a thing.
Never a thing.
But anyway, yeah, so that's when I was a little less than pleased with Cody.
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to talk about that I just wrote down is that the first time we saw Rheal, like this summer, was 2 weeks ago. And basically what happened was me, Michael, Rheal, and then one of our other friends hung out first, and then we're going to drive around the island and then pick Ian up because he was busy beforehand. And as Rheal was talking about just like Ian always being mean to her throughout middle school and high school, and that just being like something that characterized their friendship, we were a bit late to pick Ian up, and it was like quite hot and stuff because we got lost driving, and then Ian had to get into the car after we finally picked him up, and then Rheal was sitting there, and instead of saying like, hey Rheal, like I haven't seen you in like 6 months or 7 months or whatever, Ian was like, dude, like move aside. and then he was like a bit mad but didn't want to say, I think, and he was like, dude, Michael, your car is like so dirty, man. Like your car is really dirty.
And we got really hot.
Yeah.
Bad mood.
And then Rheal moved aside, and she's like, oh, you need to like buckle yourself. And so she's like, and then like maybe like 45 seconds later, he's like, so hi.
And I was like, oh shit, yeah, hey.
But yeah, it was just like, what you kept like throughout that day that we spent together, you kept like insulting her, and then
no. It was when he'd think it was me, so he'd start off really aggressively and realize that it wasn't me doing something. He'd be like, oh, sorry.
Rachel.
Yeah, like, why'd you say that? And it was like Rachel or like one of our other mates like, oh, actually, no, it's fine.
Oh, don't worry about it.
And then he kept saying, old habits die hard. Old habits die hard. Just in reference to insulting Rheal. But yeah, anyways, I think what's quite funny about Rheal also is that she is someone who like doesn't get mad very easily, or if she does get like annoyed at someone, it like passes like overnight or something. Like it's truly like gone so quickly. And so there've only been like a handful of times that I've seen Rheal like genuinely mad or annoyed at someone. One of which was we were all there. We used to get this bus together after school.
I don't even remember this.
So there's this girl, I'll just say Arbonne. I do remember this.
Wait.
I have no clue what instance you're talking about.
Okay, but
there's mad beef.
Yeah. So anyways, now that we're all on the same page, I forgot even how this was, but like this other girl had written some like Facebook post about like some instance that she saw on the street, and like people are so rude and like all of this stuff could be, like, so easily fixed by people just being, like, better humans. Or it was, like, something along those lines. And I can't really remember, but I think she made some, like, very insensitive or, like, disparaging comment or something. And then Rheal, who's, like, the most non-confrontational person in our high school, like, I think just got ticked off from that. And then, like, commented, like, something to the extent of, like, that's so rude, or like check your privilege or something on this. And then they get into like this 8-hour long, this is back when like Facebook comment wars were like a thing, or I guess maybe they are still a thing, we just don't do them much anymore, but like they were arguing for like from like 1 p.m. to like later that evening and stuff. And I remember Rheal was just like, why the fuck would she say that? Like, why would she even like say that in front of like everyone? And then like we were all like kind of shocked because we've never seen Rheal like that mad or annoyed at someone. And then the other instance was, it was also to do with psychology, but we had this day-long field trip where they took us out of school to run these, like, human surveys or whatever, and we were with this one guy who was just, like, I don't know, he was just, like...
He was just being difficult.
Yeah, being difficult and, like, wanting to, like, say that he was annoyed and stuff. And
was this a student?
Yeah. This was like a person in our
in our group or something like that too. And then we were sitting down, and I can't remember where it was. But
McDonald's.
Then it was in McDonald's.
It was in
and then
McDonald's.
like we were just all eating and stuff, and then he just said like, I'm so hot today, or like, oh, you could have done this better or something.
He didn't say, I'm so hot, because I wouldn't have snapped at him if that was what
then what did he say? What did he say?
I don't remember. He was just being like I think he didn't want to go to McDonald's, so he was just like being...
He was just whining.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was like...
Yeah, do you want to repeat what you said?
I just said, well, the door's right there.
Yeah, it's like the name of the person. Like,
I don't teacher thing. Yeah,
like
say.
I don't get
the
why
door's
you're
right
being,
there.
I don't get why you're being like so difficult. If you don't want to be here, like no one's forcing you. And like the door is like right there. And then it was just like silent afterwards. And I've like genuinely never seen Rheal like that mad, or like even I've never seen you snap other than that time.
Yeah.
And then
the thing is, there were people in our group that we weren't even that close with.
Yeah. This wasn't just like me, Rheal, and the other guy. There was like other people in our field trip group too. And we were like,
I wonder who this guy is.
So, this McChicken is really yummy.
As you're lathering on the sweet, like, spicy and sour sauce. Sweet and spicy sauce.
Yeah. So anyways, like, Rheal would never, like, hold a grudge or anything with that.
I think it's also because, like, we don't do anything to purposely hurt you. Right?
Why do you ask that? Like, you're not sure of that. Like, you said something you weren't.
Right?
Pulling a bit of a Garrett.
I feel like all of us are very playful. Right?
Well, I would say, like, none of what we did with you was, like, vindictive or, like...
I was always in on it. Like, I knew what you guys were going to do.
One of the bros.
Yeah, one of the boys.
broskies.
It was never, like going after her reputation or like something like that. It was like, you know, like it was never like a power play or anything. It was just like us.
Big bro, little bro kind of stuff.
Yeah. It was just like Rheal would be fine with the stuff we would do to her, which made her like a common target, I guess. And we also had a lot of classes.
I feel like it was just the two of you though. Like no one else is really ever.
Yeah.
Like no one else in our group.
Wait.
No, but it was because
it actually just us two. Wait, what the fuck? I always thought it was like a thing where like we did it as like a group. But
it was also because I spent the most time with you guys.
Yeah.
Like I had classes. I didn't have classes with anyone else.
I have, I was just, like, the guy who would film everything and also egg people on to do stuff in high school, like, as Ian's mentioned, and there was this time, actually, there were a lot of times that Rheal would kind of be, like, serious about wanting to learn in chem, and then me and Ian would be like, nah. So, there was this time where Rheal was, like, actually trying to do this worksheet that we were being given, and then we did this, like, Nature Channel like documentary style thing where you're like, this is the wild Rheal, let's see how she'll respond, and then like I'm filming and then I'm like, okay, go in, and then he chucks a marker at her and then she like ignores it because she was ignoring us that day, and then we're like, she doesn't respond, and then like we film another one, we throw like an eraser and then she like scoots it off her worksheet, and then the next time we threw do you remember this? Because I didn't remember it until I saw the video. We threw a soap dispenser. Wait, what? Like, you know where you get hand soap out of the sink?
Okay, I just also want to say this wasn't like at me, it didn't hit me.
Yeah. No, Rheal actually blocked that one with her hand and stuff too.
We threw it like on her like workspace.
Yeah. I just remember, I feel like there was a time where I got so annoyed with you guys like bothering or like distracting me that I moved tables.
Like right behind us.
Yeah.
And then did we move to like go next to you as well?
No, wait, she's literally right behind us, so it wasn't really that hard.
Actually, no,
You
I
guys
do
would just
remember
turn
that.
around.
Yeah, just turn around.
I do remember that. That was like a bit of a phase of yours. But yeah, I guess we also did want to like pick Rheal's brain on something very topical to a lot of people who are listening to this, which is like college or high school, wherever you may be.
College.
We all love college.
I love college.
Do something crazy.
Do something crazy. Very nice. Rheal also said that if this post on Instagram gets 100 likes, she will do her own acapella version.
Acapella
of I Love
of I Love
College.
Sure.
Yes! Yes!
It's just me filming from Toronto, sending you the clips.
You can see the outtakes. Real. It's Caribbean pasta.
But we did want to like kind of get your thoughts on, I guess, going to college. I also feel like college, with a lot of schools in Hong Kong or like in Asia that tend to be a bit more like competitive, like college application season was like our life for like that like year and a half. Like it was truly like all we would think about in conjunction with like our high school grades and stuff. So I guess what was your expectation of going to college first? And then like was that like what you experienced?
Expectation versus reality.
yes. We talked about that last podcast. Yeah. Expectation versus reality. And then Rachel was just like, guys, you're being so obnoxious right now. But yeah, expectation versus reality with college.
In terms of the application or going?
In terms of like going, like what, I'm sure you thought a lot about college, like when you were applying and like prepping and all this stuff, but like expectation versus reality with that stuff.
Well, I feel like before I actually went, I was expecting, this is gonna sound bad, but I feel like I was expecting it to be more fun.
Yeah.
But like Cody said earlier, like I went to a really big school.
Yeah,
like
it's huge.
there was like,
Do you know how many students, right?
Probably like 40,000. Well,
What? That's huge.
Okay, there's 3 campuses.
Yeah.
If you're thinking like undergrad, masters, PhD
Yeah.
students, everything, I think it was, I want to say 40,000.
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's huge.
So you're in classes with like, in first year it's like 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
So it's just like dehumanized. Like you're not seen as like a person, like you're just a student, whatever. And I think that was a huge adjustment coming from, our high school experience.
Which was so small.
Like personal touch.
Yeah, and like we knew all the teachers, good relationship with all the teachers, to like I have never spoken to a prof. Like,
yeah. Our high school graduating class was 180 people, like for context, so we knew like everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say that's like the biggest thing, because I think it was just a huge adjustment going from high school to
I'm sure.
college in that regard, but I was in residence, so it was like not too bad making friends and stuff. So
it's like living on campus housing, like in your freshman year.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I think that was like the main thing that helped me make friends.
Yeah.
Because you're like seeing the same people in like the cafeteria and walking to campus and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Were you? Sorry, you.
No, you
go.
go. You go.
No,
you go.
You,
Cody.
You.
We're not.
You.
No, you go.
Okay, I was just gonna ask if
So do you think? Actually go.
And I'm Ian.
Cody.
Are all like freshmen forced to live on campus housing?
No.
Or no?
You can choose to live there, live at home if you're from there.
Right,
Even like probably like rent your own. Like I don't know anyone that did it, but you could like rent your own place.
This is first year, right? You're talking.
Yeah, first year.
But I don't know a whole lot of people that didn't live on campus or like in residence at least. Because I just feel like it's like integral to the
for sure. Especially like going your first year into college.
Especially, I think like for Canada, at least in the province I was in, the legal drinking age was 19.
Hell yeah.
So it's like you couldn't like go out and meet people.
Yeah.
All the socializing was in your residence, kind of.
Right. That makes sense. Was it mandatory for you? Like,
it was mandatory for my first year.
Only your first year, though.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not allowed second and third year, I don't think, unless.
Oh, right.
You like somehow miraculously apply for one.
Right.
Yeah.
And how many people were at your school, Ian?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Not as small as yours.
Yeah.
I think it's just like average.
Right.
Average big-ish.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. My college was like 2,500 people. So Rheal school is like 20 times
sick.
as big as me.
I wish I went to like a small school.
A small school. Yeah, there are like pros and cons to both, I guess. But I just can't imagine going to college and like not living at least your first year in like some sort of residence halls. Like it would just seem like so lonely and isolating.
The small college experience is nice, like Davidson College.
Like Davidson College.
Yeah. Like how about geographically? Like you mentioned that.
I just thought of something going back to expectations versus reality and like geographically.
Yeah.
So I visited the campus in summer.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Like blue skies, green grass everywhere. Just so excited. Yeah, it's not like that for like most of the school year.
Is it like a city campus?
Or it's like in the middle of downtown.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Toronto gets cold.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Like early in the year.
Yeah. No, like it's getting cold like right now, right?
I think when I go back it's gonna be single digits.
Oh my gosh.
That's gonna be a bit of an adjustment.
And it'll probably will it dip below freezing at night yet or not really?
I hope not.
Right. Okay.
Okay, it gets cold, but does it get really gloomy?
Yeah.
It definitely
it has
does.
the like 4 p.m. sunset
Oh,
kind of thing.
That's awful.
That's what I hate about the UK.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. When you leave like your last class or like leave the library before dinner time at like 4 p.m. and it's dark, it just like puts you into such a negative mood.
Exactly.
Have you ever slipped on ice like when you were walking in Toronto? At all or no?
Okay,
it gets super icy.
I haven't fallen.
Yeah.
But I've definitely had some very like not graceful moments, especially in first year when I was getting used to it. I was like walking and I had a little shopping bag.
Yeah.
And I slipped, and you know when you slip, your arms like fly out.
Yeah.
So
that's a very comical flip. That's something you see in like TV shows or like cartoons.
So my shopping bag goes flying, and it somehow lands like behind me. So I have to get up and like do this awkward little walk back to my shopping bag, pick it up, and then like just go on about my day.
Were people there? Did people see you?
Oh, this was like just the afternoon.
Did they help you out?
No.
What? That's so funny. I've had some bad falls just because my school is near Chicago and it is like kind of similar to Toronto weather-wise. But luckily it's always been like at night or something. And so I always like immediately pick myself up and like look around to see if there's anyone there, and luckily there's not. But it's like truly so embarrassing. And I think even if you did get like a little hurt or scraped up like in a fall, like the shame and embarrassment masks that up with like adrenaline so much, so you don't even know. Like the number one feeling that you feel when you fall is like just embarrassment and shame. But yeah, I guess like similarly to that, would you give any advice to people like transitioning into college? Like either if they're finishing up a gap year or finishing up high school right now, like after graduating and spending 4 years in college, like what would some of your top tips to people for like navigating college be?
I would say just try and get involved, do stuff. I think it's easy to be overwhelmed. Like in my experience, it was really easy to be overwhelmed by like just how many people there were.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Like imposter syndrome.
Wait, what's imposter syndrome?
What's that?
Like when you just feel like you shouldn't be there kind of thing. You're like
not smart enough to be there or something?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's really easy to get into that mindset. I think like, you know, you got in for a reason.
Yeah.
Like get involved, do stuff. Yeah.
Is imposter syndrome like self-induced, or is it like, do you think it's brewed by like social pressure?
Probably a bit of both.
Rheal was also a psychology major too, so she's the resident expert on all of this. I feel like all that is super important, especially for like a big school too, because at least where I was, like my school's like tagline was like intentional community, so you were kind of like forced into community wherever you were. Like the floors were always like a big deal, and you would go into like floor dinners and stuff, or like
that's sick.
It was just like classes were so small, like truly everyone knew everyone, and so you never like of course there are pros and cons, but one of the things is like you never have to like work very hard to make community because you always just like find it around yourself just naturally. But I feel like especially at a big school, like you have to be proactive and like search and like create community for yourself.
Yeah.
Which I think like sorry, you go.
Why don't you
doing
this?
I'm stupid. Bad.
Yeah, and I feel like people can be so unfriendly when, like, because I don't know about you guys, but like all of our grades were curved, so you're basically competing with the class.
Yeah.
So people are so unfriendly, like even just to be like, hey, like, to the person sitting next to you in class, they'd just be like, hi, and look away.
Really?
Yeah, like, it was not, like, I don't have any friends from class.
Right.
Toronto was super, like, friendly and shit.
Yeah, I thought Canadians are always, like, super friendly.
Are you real?
I guess not.
No?
We have a lot of...
internationals.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like it was all the... not all the students, but, like, it even Canadians were not necessarily
Canadians, just like competing against each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Was that similar with you in the UK?
I would say
like,
so, yeah. You have to be very...
No.
But, like, in terms of social life, you have to be very proactive and kind of, like, seeking your circle, which I think is not very healthy. Like, I think it's good to have, like, a bit of community. It doesn't have to be... Like, it shouldn't be that much of a task for you to socialize.
Yeah.
It should be more welcoming.
No,
but
for
on the same side, like... It's a big school, so you can't really do that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like also something that I've found only like in my senior year of college too is like that sometimes you have to learn to be comfortable with like being alone and stuff as well. Like, not why are you looking at me that way? Oh my god,
he's just very handsome.
Ian was like an inch away from my face, and I was trying to ignore it for the longest time. Okay, stop. But like, there comes a time when like you have to accept that like. Maybe you're gonna like be alone tonight, and you can like fill that with like FOMO and like aggressively like texting people, or you can like also just like learn to be oh my
oh my god
or you can like learn to be okay with that and be like become more comfortable with yourself and stuff. So
I think we talked a bit about this before, about being, like, alone, per se.
Right, and so that's why you kept interrupting
me.
Yeah. Anyways, we've almost been recording for, like, an hour,
let's do
actually.
The last one.
So the last one also...
Oh my god.
We wrote this on our notes slightly as a joke. So
very much as a joke.
But I guess we'll just defer to Rheal to see how much she wants to share. But
no, we don't want specifics or details.
Yeah.
Maybe tell us the difference between dating in high school and dating in college.
Yeah, and advice for relationships.
From the female perspective.
Yeah. Because Ian and I were just two bros, what do we know?
We're little wimps.
So yeah, from a lady.
Ladies, darling. Darling.
I mean, I feel like whether you're in high school or college, like, in terms of the actual relationship between two people, like, you can kind of expect the same things, like, obviously, like, communication, trust, like, all that, respect, whatever. Like, you would want that regardless of what age you're in.
Yeah.
But I guess there's more...
Yeah, sorry. I thought you were ending
That's really good Rheal. I have a note.
I thought you were ending your sentence. That's why I wanted to keep the train going, but continue, please.
Noted with thanks.
Noted with thanks.
I'd say just, like, the amount of time that you can spend together and, like, the freedom and independence that you have.
Yeah.
Especially, I'd say, with college, you're not necessarily going to see the person that you're dating every day. Like, I, in high school, obviously, like, had breaks and lunches, and, like, I, like, had no choice but to see the person all the time. Whereas in college, like, you have to make the plan and figure that out yourself and make sure that you're giving your significant other enough time and everything like that.
Yeah. No, for sure. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And also, like, preserving enough time and stuff for
Thank you for doing it to me. I do. Okay. You got that out of your system, Cody. Cody just cut me off.
All right. Let's...
How about the caliber of guys? Do you think, like, guys...
Oh my god.
That was phrased differently. Like, do you think guys in, like, dating in college, they're more mature? Do you think your relationships are more mature?
It depends on the guy, you know? Like, you could have a guy that's really mature in high school, or you could have a guy that's really immature that's honestly even, like, graduated from college and, like, working.
True. One thing I remember about our, like, IB psychology is that we had this one unit on, relationship, what was it, like, relationship psychology or something like that? Yeah. And you could always tell who was in a relationship in high school in this class because they were, like, so eager to, like, be, like, in front of the class, like, oh, that's so true.
I can relate to that.
Especially for our class, we had an actual couple in our class.
Yeah, we did. And then Rheal was also kind of keen to bring up stuff about her relationship.
From an expert point of view,
she starts correcting the teacher. Actually, no, I think it applies this way. But I was just wondering, like, have you taken any classes on, like, relationship dynamics from, like, a psychological perspective in college? And, like, if so, have you seen that applied, or, like, have you applied that to your relationships and stuff that you've been in?
I don't think I've taken any in college, but even the, like, relationship psychology unit that we had in IB, I feel like I try to bear those things in mind. Like, there was one theory that was, like, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse or something.
I kind of remember that. Wait, explain it.
I don't remember what each of them were, but, like, there was one that was, like, oh, you shouldn't say always or never. Like, oh, you always do this, you never do... And it's, like, very accusatory and that kind of thing. So, just little things like that I try to bear in mind.
Yeah, for sure. Rheal, and then this other couple and stuff too. I'd say the other couple was worse for sure, but then there was also another girl that sat next to Rheal. They're always like, that is so true. I have always seen that. That is so good. I was thinking of that exact same thing.
Right, boo-boo? Just turns around.
Right, sweetie. But yeah, Rheal, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. We really appreciated having you on.
I'm honored to...
Since you did our intro... Oh, sorry. My time...
Interrupt us thanking her.
my timing's out of whack. I didn't get enough sleep. Okay, go on.
Carry on.
Just gonna say I was honored to be invited on.
Thank you.
Thank you for going on.
Now, what were you gonna say?
Since you did the intro, you want to do the outro as well?
Sure.
The outro is, like, a bit more segmented, so it might be a bit harder for you to read.
Follow us on Instagram at PitcherPod.
Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath.
Now you're tripping.
Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. We're going to be giving shout outs to everyone who rates and reviews us on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and check us out on YouTube, Spotify as well. Also, email and DM us at pitcherpod@gmail.com with thoughts or suggestions.
Very good.
Do you guys have a shout out to give today?
We haven't checked our ratings and reviews yet. I really doubt anyone's given us a review, right?
Rheal didn't give us a review because he doesn't have, like, an Apple ID or whatever.
I use Spotify.
Okay.
Me sitting here with my iPhone, just hiding it.
Clearly on Apple Podcast. But she did comment on our YouTube.
So we're going to shout her out on her episode.
Shout out to Rheal.
Shout out to
Rheal on the episode that she's on. Do you want to give a shout out to yourself?
Say shout out to Rheal.
Can I say a shout out to the other commenter?
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tim Deeks.
It was definitely a bot that commented on her stuff. But
yeah, we'll grab a picture with you guys next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Rheal. Bye-bye.
Bye.